Hello trainers, Professor Palm here, and I'm really excited today because this is video 450! I cannot even believe for a fact that I made it that far. Wow, it's been almost 2.5 years and now I have that many videos. Well, you know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. Last week, I talked a little bit about the time mechanic with both Hoot Hoot and Noctowl. I also really like the fact that now we have the day to night transitions in most of the Pokemon games. We were introduced to a lot of really cool Pokemon in the second generation when it started, like Espeon and Umbreon. Time is one of the most important things in Pokemon. Not just does it help Pokemon evolve, and not just do certain Pokemon come out, but it really makes the game to feel more grounded in reality. Honestly, time is the longest distance between everything. Seeing that I made it to 450 videos, thanks to all of you out there, I thought today we should go back in time. Yep, let's talk about the Pokemon of time itself, Dialga. Dialga? Right. Dialga is the creator of time. When Arceus created it, it wanted to make a Pokemon that could be the one that separates both dark and light. And it made this great Temporal Master. Unfortunately, that's not the Pokemon I was looking for today. I was looking for the Time Traveler Pokemon, the one that knows time like the back of its own wings. I'm of course talking about the little time traveler introduced in Generation 2, Celebi. This is one of my favorite mythical Pokemon ever. It's always been one of the most standout ones. To me, this was honestly one of the first Pokemon I really thought was a fairy-type Pokemon. Celebi, thank you for being here with us today. I'm sure that all of us here are so grateful that you took some time out of your busy schedule. Okay, I'm just joking. Celebi has the power to time travel. Time is completely irrelevant to Celebi. This Pokemon can go back or even forward to any point in history that it wants to go to. I know that a lot of us have seen time travel in movies, we've probably seen it on TV shows, and I'm sure that a lot of us have even read time travel in books. I know that time travel is very risky, especially since we kind of were time traveled back into the Hisui region in Pokemon Legends Arceus, but you gotta admit, having the power to time travel to whenever you want to does seem pretty cool. I'm sure that there's things that we want to see in the future, and there's even things in the past that we want to see, and even things that we're not so proud of that we wish we could correct. As the saying goes, time stands still for no one. Well, with Celebi, that's not the case. This Pokemon can time travel to any point it wants to go to. It's probably seen the beginning of time and even the end of it as well. This is probably one of the most amazing Pokemon out there. But what makes it even more cool is the fact that we don't know its origin. It's possible that Celebi is actually from the future, but it could be possible that Celebi is from the past since of all that artwork it's in. But no one really knows for sure. You know something that's actually a little bit funny about Celebi? It's the fact that you could not get this Pokemon in Gold and Silver, but in North America. You see, the only way you could get Celebi back in time was by having a Japanese version of Gold and Silver. And they kind of took a little bit of Celebi's time travel gimmick a little bit further for real life. Because the only way you could get Celebi in the Johto region games was by waiting for Pokemon Crystal. That's right, in North America, we had to wait a few years for Pokemon Crystal. I guess you could say that in real life, Celebi kind of uses the power of time travel. Time really is one of the most powerful things ever. Sometimes things get better with age, and sometimes things don't. With Celebi, I guess it might be a little hard, because no matter what happens, things seem to change left and right. Well, Celebi really is one of the most interesting mythical Pokemon ever, so I think that we should talk all about this incredible little time traveler. Let's find out where it's been and where it's going. Maybe it could take us back to the past, or maybe it could take us to the future. So let's go with Celebi on a time traveling expedition. But before we do that, Technova, I would like to give you a very special thanks and shout out for my shirt. Today's Within shirt I'm wearing is called the DNA Within. Since we're talking about psychic mythical Pokemon, what's a better shirt to wear than this one? If you really like these Within shirts that I wear in my video, you can buy them on Etsy. I have a link to Technova's Etsy shop in the description below. Please check her out and maybe buy a shirt. You're gonna look amazing in them, but don't forget to say Professor Palm sent ya. Well, trainers, I think it's time that we're going to go time traveling. We're also going to learn everything we need to know about Celebi. So don't worry, we don't need a time traveling DeLorean, we don't need a police box, and we don't need any sort of plutonium or even a time machine. The time machine is right here. So let's go back in time or even forward to the future with the little time traveler, Celebi! Celebi, the time travel Pokemon, is based on fairies, specifically garden fairies. It also is similar to that of Dryad and Kodama, who are mythical fairy beings of trees and the forest. And yet, despite its similarity to fairies, Celebi is not a fairy-type Pokemon, nor did it even get the type change that happened to so many other Pokemon in Generation 6's add-on of the fairy typing. Because Celebi can time travel, it has no set habitat. It's not a matter of where is it, but matter of when is it. However, most research shows that Celebi appears and hangs out around the forest and wooded area. It loves flowers, trees, and anything that is green. Celebi is known by many names: the voice of the forest deity, and the guardian of the forest. And with all these names, it's believed that Celebi was born in the Ilex forest, specifically where the shrine stands. Celebi also gains its name from being able to heal plants, but can also heal the wounds of both people and Pokemon alike. And despite its small size, Celebi has a big heart. Since it can time travel, Celebi's actual origin is truly unknown. While some artwork shows Celebi living in the ancient times, it's possible that Celebi came from the future and has been hopping around time using its powers ever since. And since time is completely irrelevant, we have actually no idea how old Celebi truly is. While Celebi can appear at any point in time it chooses, Celebi is said to appear at times of peace. It's even said that the moment Celebi appears, the flowers bloom and the plants as well as the trees start to flourish in its arrival. Seeing Celebi is also known as a good sign, especially in the forest. Some legends say that a fateful encounter with Celebi not only will give you some good luck, but also a bright and shining future awaits you. If you want to go after that future, go for it. Your path is open and it's up to you to make it. When Celebi disappears deep within the forest through time travel, it's said that it leaves an egg behind that it brought from either the future or the past. Whether or not the legend is true, we'll have to wait for it to return, and only then will we find out what little present that Celebi has brought from us from a different point in time. Since Dialga and Celebi have the power of time by their side, some people see them as rivals through time. However, it's possible that Dialga has been teaching Celebi to be the new timekeeper. Since Dialga has been around for a very long time, it's possible that Celebi is carrying on the new tradition, and both of them are both a teacher and student. Celebi has been everywhere and at every time. This Pokemon has seen the beginning of time to even the end of it. It's possible that Celebi has a lot of stories it can tell us. It just might even have the answers to questions we don't know from the past, but also the answers of stuff we need to know for the future. All Pokemon has some cool facts that we can talk about, and with Celebi being the second ever mythical Pokemon in the games, let's talk about some fun little tidbits about this mythical time traveler. Currently, Celebi and Dialga are the only Pokemon who have the ability to time travel. Celebi shares its unique dual typing of Psychic Grass with Execute and Cantonian Executor. It was also the first dual-type mythical Pokemon introduced. Celebi has the ability of Natural Cure, which erases its status condition once it's switched out, which makes sense as time has gone on, Celebi has picked up a few tricks through time travel. Similar to Mew in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green, Celebi was the only mythical Pokemon introduced in that generation. But, also like Mew, Celebi could not be obtained in North America, not until the third game came out. Yellow for Mew, and Crystal for Celebi. In Black and White, if you migrated your special event Celebi from any of the Generation 4 games, and you went to Castelia City, you could unlock the Zorua event. This could only be unlocked with that special event Celebi, making it currently the only event Pokemon needed to unlock two different events in two different games. For the celebration of Pokemon's 20th anniversary in 2016, Celebi could be received via mystery gift in any of the Generation 6 games. In the Generation 4 games, Celebi alongside Darkrai, Arceus, Shaymin, and Shiny Pichu all had special mystery gift events. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time and Explorers of Darkness, a shiny Celebi is a supporting protagonist in the main storyline. Also, Celebi was the very first shiny Pokemon to ever appear in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. Celebi appears in the Pokemon Ranger spin-off games, where in the first game, in post-game, it can be saved, while in Guardian Signs, Celebi is the first boss that you take on, and it also time travels with you. And Celebi has appeared in more movies than almost any other mythical Pokemon, as it's appeared in 3. Celebi, Voice of the Forest, Zoroark, Master of Illusions, and Secrets of the Jungle. The 4th generation of Pokemon took things to a whole new level, as it gave us some really fun in-game events. In the Sinnoh region, we had events with Arceus, Darkrai, and Shaymin, and this continued in the other Generation 4 games with the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where we had some fun stuff happen with Spiky Ear Pichu, Arceus, and of course, Celebi. However, the Celebi event in Heart Gold and Soul Silver is probably one of the most memorable events, not just because of what happens in it, but also because of how dark and sad this event really is. Many of us got to experience this back in the days of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but for those who didn't, let me tell you the gist. After you get your event Celebi, who's level 50 and in a Cherish Ball, you go to the Ilex Quarry with your event Celebi in first in your party, and talk to the Ilex Shrine. There, you'll be encountered by Lyra or Ethan, depending as who you're playing on, and they'll talk to you about the Ilex Shrine and what it stands for. All of a sudden, Celebi uses its ability to time travel, and you end up back in time. 3 years to be exact. You'll be on Route 22 in the Kanto region, where you see your rival talking to someone who's revealed to be none other than Giovanni himself, the big boss of Team Rocket. And in a crazy twist, it's revealed that Giovanni is your rival's father. Giovanni tells your rival right then and there that he plans on rebuilding a stronger Team Rocket one day. He then leaves by saying, "One day you'll understand." And right then and there, he abandons his own son. Then your rival vows to be stronger than him and runs away, but sees you and tosses you aside. All of a sudden, then Lyra or Ethan realizes that you're 3 years ago in the past, all because of Celebi's time travel. But then, Celebi time travels again. This time, you'll be close to the present, but not just there, as you're in the Toho Falls, and Giovanni is there. He tells you he's ready to return to his team, but just as he says that, the broadcast from Goldenrod City Radio Tower comes on. Giovanni feels ready to return and become the big boss that he was again. And as a start, he's gonna take you down. So, you two battle. After you defeat him, Giovanni falls into a fit of rage. He's so angry by realizing the last 3 years of training were a waste. He then leaves the cave in the waterfall with a huff. Then a very loud sound of radio static comes. It's unknown what happens to him, but it does give you a very worrisome feeling. And then you realize that the reason he didn't come back was because of you, because you stopped him from bringing back Team Rocket as that massive threat. And then Celebi takes you back to the present in the Ilex Forest where you started, where Lyra or Ethan realizes that they've had enough with this and leave with Meryl. Since it can time travel, time is not a problem for Celebi, but what is battling. With Celebi's dual typing of Psychic and Grass, it's one of the most disadvantaged Pokemon in battle, as when it goes in, it has a lot of weaknesses to moves, which are Dark type, Flying type, Poison type, Ghost type, Fire type, and Ice type. With these 6 weaknesses, this already looks bad for Celebi when in battle, but trust me, it gets even harder, as all of these are only ×2 weaknesses. Celebi has a horrible ×4 weakness, and that is to bug moves, which both of its dual typings are completely weak to. Wow, Celebi has a lot of weaknesses, with a total of 7, but its dual typing of Grass and Psychic also gives it a few powerful moves that it can use in battle. With its Grass and Psychic moves, it's strong against Pokemon who are Fighting type, Rock type, Poison type, Ground type, and Water type. Unfortunately, while it has strengths, Celebi has more weaknesses than it does strengths. However, with its power of time travel by its side, it can have as many battles as it wants until it wins. Celebi's power of time travel is unlike any other, and so many of us wish that we had that power too, to go back in time or to the future. Unfortunately, as that famous expression always said, time waits for no one. Well, if you had the power of time travel, or you could time travel with Celebi, where would you go? Would you go into the future? Would you want to see if you have a bright one awaiting you? Would you want to see what's coming next? Or would you just want to go to the future because you really just don't want to wait for things to happen and you just want to see what happens then? But I'm pretty sure that plenty of us also wish that we could go back in time to the past. Not just to some days, but those beautiful days that a lot of us think about. Maybe the days of childhood. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that a lot of us, when looking back, remember childhood so dear. Maybe it's because it was just much easier, or maybe it's just those times feel more familiar. Maybe it's a mix of both. But going back there might also be a great idea because we could relive so many things. I'm sure that so many of us remember times being so much different back then. A lot has changed. The world has changed. Honestly, time is the greatest distance between everything. Going back in time, I don't think we'll just experience the happiness we had, but we might even be able to reunite with some old friends, and maybe some old family members that we lost touch with. It's sad to say that a lot of us took our childhoods for granted. We never really knew how good we had it until it was all gone. I'm sure that as time's gone on, we've lost connections, and we've even lost friends and family members that we loved. It's unfortunate, but time is the one thing that'll never go away. Maybe one day we'll find out the secret of time travel. Or maybe one day we'll find Celebi and we'll be able to go back in time. However, that's only a future that one of us can build. Even if time travel never becomes a thing, all you have to do is just always work on yourself. It's sad that things happen, but you can always learn from the past to build a better future. Welcome back, trainers. Did you enjoy going back in the past, or did you go into the future? It's kind of hard to tell because Celebi can't really speak our language. Well, either way, I hope that you enjoyed learning everything you need to know about Celebi. But before we end this, I just have a few questions for all of you. Since Celebi and Dialga both have the power of time travel, who do you think has made the most mistakes with time travel? Also, who do you think is the master of all time between both of these temporal Pokemon? The Celebi event was a lot of fun to watch. Did you get to witness it in your copies of Heart Gold or Soul Silver with your event Celebi? Did you not know about it until today? Or have you seen the footage of it on YouTube? Also, what was one of your favorite in-game events that happened in the Generation 4 games? When the Generation 6 games introduced the Fairy typing, do you think that Celebi itself should have become a Fairy-type Pokemon? Or do you think it's fine that it stayed the Psychic Grass-type Pokemon that we know? If you could time travel to any point, where would you go? Would you go to the future to see how you're doing there? Or would you go back to the past and try to experience things that you miss and maybe try to experience the old days? We sure have been introduced to a lot of mythical Pokemon over the years. Out of all of them that we've had, who's so far been your favorite mythical Pokemon? Also, who was the very first mythical Pokemon that you ever got? Thanks for watching, trainers. It was great to have Celebi, and I really want to thank you all for 450 videos. It appears that Celebi is about to go time travel. To where? I have no idea. We could either be seeing it go into the future or even back to the past. But if you liked what you saw, then please leave a like. If you have any questions, you want to answer any of the questions I threw at you, you want me to cover another Pokemon, or you want me to cover something going on in the current events of Pokemon, or even have an idea turned into a video, then please comment. And as always, if you liked what you saw and you want to see more, smash that subscribe button. Also, as a Pokemon professor, it's my job to teach trainers all around the world. So please share my video to as many trainers as you can. And thanks for watching, trainers. Palm out.